Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Live Fearlessly vlog series. I'm super excited that I get to reintroduce you guys to Liza Lomax. She was a guest on the video podcast in, I believe it was it 2019 or 18? It was, she was
Gosh,
episode
it was,
29,
mhm.
and this is, I believe, episode 86. So
Wow.
somebody else do the math. But yeah, so Liza was in Minnesota for our first interview with her. And Liza, where are you located now? Where you at? Where you at?
Ooh, where am I at? I am actually in North Carolina. Very interesting story. Kind of goes back all the way until the age of 14. When my dad is an avid traveler. He's been an entrepreneur since he was 14, literally. He's had companies, he's sold them off, he's traveled all over the world, he speaks multiple languages. I used to get postcards all the time from him. And I always imagined having a life that he had. Like, he has always said, I want to live where I want to live. I want to go where I want to go. I want to see what I want to see and be what I want to be. And
Hashtag freedom.
hashtag freedom. Right. And so, because I had a lot of fear, even though fear is our best friend, like we talked about numerous times, I had that security and that stability of thinking, oh, I have to be in this one place for a really long time for the rest of my life. I am stuck in this place. I stuck myself in a box in this place. And I'd go out, I'd venture out, I'd travel, I'd do this kind of thing. And it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to live this life, that I want to go where I want to go. I want to be what I want to be. I want to see what I want to see. I want to live where I want to live. And be able to wear tank tops in the middle of November.
Right. Can't really do that in Minnesota unless you're willing to
No.
crank up your heat bill.
Right. So, fast forward, many years, and it was a huge passion of mine, a huge desire that I wanted to be, be where I wanted to be and go where I wanted to go. And so, luckily, a person came into my life that wanted the same exact things. And we're like, hey, let's do this. Let's bring this to fruition. So we had all this planned. We actually had the whole 2020 year planned with traveling, with being on the West Coast and being in Hawaii. We had a trip to Alaska. We had a trip up the Pacific Northwest. We had a trip to the East Coast. We had a trip to Russia. We had all these plans, and COVID kind of put a damper on it and kind of said, you know what, we're going to ground you for a little bit longer while, why, but whatever the case may be, whatever. So we're like, well, we need to make this happen. And so we call ourselves locationally independent. Which I think is just a bougie way of saying nomadic, but it sounds so cooler, locationally independent. So we were like, okay, well, we got to make this happen. And so what had happened was we had sold everything in our apartment. We stopped the lease in our apartment, and then COVID hit. So we literally had everything packed. We had it ready to go in the car, like all designed, put the same way, Jenga juxtaposed everything in there. So everything would fit, because we were like, everything that we were taking with us had to fit in the car, had to fit in the vehicle. And
What kind of car? Give us a
it's
picture.
a Subaru Forester. Okay. So with a topper on top, because we ended up getting a topper. Anyways, yeah. So COVID hit, and it was like, oh, okay, well, where do we go? And eventually, we thought, maybe we'll venture down to Colorado and spend some time in Colorado. We have people down there. And then the shelter in place happened. So then we couldn't go anywhere. And so we were in Minnesota. We're like, we have no place to go. What do we do? My in-laws graciously blessed us with moving in with them. So we had lived with them for 7 months, and people were asking, oh, how is it living with your in-laws? And how it was wonderful. It really was. They're wonderful people. They have a huge house on the lake, plenty enough space, lots of rooms. I mean, yeah,
Will they take me in? No.
Right. So it was kind of like we were already like on, not on vacation, but we were already in like a different space, and we were already doing our own thing. And so we're like, okay, we got to make this thing happen. And so originally we were thinking, let's go down to Florida. But Florida's kind of, I'm sorry, it's a shit show right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's too many things going on. No offense to anybody who's watching who lives in Florida. It's just, there's just a lot of things going on.
Not our
So,
first choice.
right, not our first choice. And, they don't have a mandatory mask order, which is very important. And literally all signs pointed to North Carolina, like all these signs, like we talked to people or something would come up. It would come up in conversations without us even mentioning it. And we're like, okay, well, we're going to make the leap. And so we came down to North Carolina. So we've been here for a couple of weeks. We had no place. We had nowhere to go. We went on blind faith that we were going to find something. And we kept, our angels, our guides kept telling us, just go, have faith. And we had been looking for houses and looking and like nothing. And well, actually my partner was looking for houses and nothing, like specifics. Like we wanted like specific things.
Yeah.
And so we got here, and one day it was we left on a Saturday. We got here on a Sunday night. We saw this house on Monday. Came and saw it, moved in on Tuesday. So we it was like boom, boom, boom. Beautiful small town, 3,000 people, 5 minutes from the beach. We're surrounded by golf courses. It's quiet, it's beautiful, it's serene. It's a huge house. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. We don't use half of the house, but I mean, we both have our own offices. We both have our own space. We have stuff that we can green stuff that we can look out on. I'm still in a tank top, and it's the middle of November, which is something I've always wanted, and wearing flip-flops. So I'm like, right now, I'm living the dream that I've wanted. And after this, we're going to be here till probably the end of May. And then after that, our goal is to kind of shoot up to the New England states. And hopefully by then Canada will be open. So we can go visit Canada. Because I really want to go to Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. I want to see that. And then go back to Minnesota in July for family and parties and birthdays and things like that. Warmer weather, yes. And then decide where we want to go from there. And if we like it down here, we've even thought, I'm like, well, do we want to come back down here for the winter again? Let's see. We'll just see. So right now we're here, and we're in warmer weather, and we're planted ourselves for right now, and we're enjoying life. And I'm super, super excited to be doing that. And everything's just kind of coming together, and, business is going really great. And, people, I joined this community. It's Sunset Beach is where we're at. Okay. And I joined this community on Facebook, and I've already had like 3 people reach out to me saying they were interested in my services. So I was like, oh, you don't even know me. I just moved here. I just became a member of your little community, and boom. So I was like, okay, this is good.
Change of scenery, change of flow.
Change of flow.
That made me think of a question too. I was writing it down so I didn't forget. You mentioned that you stayed at your in-laws for 7 months, and like it was a beautiful house, like all these on a lake. So I'm curious, do you feel like that space actually helped you stay connected with like your vision of wanting to be somewhere other than like in Minnesota, because it was a different scenery and a different view for you to like shit? Like, I mean, ideally you packed up, you took the actions, and then you did go somewhere else, right? You were in a new space and a new energy, which I know we both were like, oh, energy is so amazing. So like, I feel like even having that change of pace and like seeing the lake and that kind of thing can still really help your energy and your spirit to be like, yes, we're still moving in the right direction. It's just not the exact picture that we think it's going to be, right? Do you feel that? What do you think?
Yeah, yes and no.
Okay.
So, yes, it's like, okay, well, we got to that space, and then I felt myself kind of like getting too comfortable again and kind
Mm,
of falling back a little bit and not being as focused as I was supposed to be. And I will clearly admit it would normally be very hard for me to admit that I would not think that, I would not say that, but I did. I fell back a little bit and kind of got into that comfortability and that security and that stability again. And I kind of had a slap in the face and was like, nope, this is going to happen. We need to do this. This is what we plan to do. So we're going to make
right.
it
We're not here to
happen.
settle. We're
We're
here
not
to
here
go
to
for our
settle. We're
dreams.
here to, exactly. And I mean, no, it wasn't all peaches and cream. I'm not saying that, living there.
Right.
It's like the news was on 24/7, which is very energetically draining. And but bless their heart. I mean, I understand they wanted to keep, it's their house. It's like we're staying in their home, and they were very, very wonderful about, like, if we come upstairs, they turn off the TV. They were very respectful of that, and they understood that we
That's
couldn't,
awesome.
ingest that toxicity, as
Yeah.
so, I mean, it was, there were times that were a little bit draining, and we kind of, both of us would kind of lock ourselves in different rooms and be like, okay, we need to focus on this. And so, yes, I mean, there was time, I started to feel falling back a little bit. And then I was like, nope, I can't do this. I have to, do this forward. And, as, as the more you do it over and over and over again, you take these leaps, the easier it gets and the less scarier it gets.
Yes.
And, I always thought, I'm like, oh, I can't leave my corporate job. And then I did. And, oh, I can't do this. And then I did it. And, oh, I can't, I mean, like, there was so many things that came up in my life that I was like, oh, I can't do this. But yet I did it. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Why was I so scared? Why was I so freaked out about it?
Right.
So it gets easier and easier the more you take leaps in
Yeah.
life.
It really is the small things that really add up to like the momentum that we need in to successfully go after our dreams, right? Because even when they don't line up perfectly for what we envision, because they never do,
Mm-mm.
it's really, enjoying the journey along the way to figure out, like, you got to spend time with your in-laws, and
Yeah.
you got
And
to
I
you
miss
got to enjoy
them.
the lake. Yeah, right. You got to have a stronger connection with them, and you got to work on, how do you de-stress when you can't control all of the variables in your life, right? Like, I would love you to share with the audience, like, what is something that, you have used as a tool for you to de-stress in 2020?
Oh goodness. So, I'm a runner, and, I was a runner when I was younger, and then I stopped for a huge part of my life. And I was like, why did I stop? Because I really enjoyed it. And I started running the last few years I've been running, and doing marathons and races and that kind of thing. And I just find it very therapeutic for me to get out into nature and to just, and I don't wear anything. I don't listen to any music. I don't have any headphones on, nothing. I just run out in the wilderness, out in the whatever, out in the
Wherever you
outside,
are.
wherever I'm at. And I just like to hear all the sounds of the birds and the trees and just the nature, and just be out in there. And for me, it's very meditative. And so for me personally, um, because of my background, I mean, if you've heard whoever's listening has heard my previous stories, know that, I had a lot of trauma growing up. I had a lot of stuff going on. I had eating disorders. I had people in my life that suffer from mental illness, and had a lot of toxicity in my life. And so there's a lot of things that I went to escape from, escape. And exercise or running was a good way to get out of my head, and just to get just be in the moment and just do. And I don't do it for losing weight. I don't do it for, anything else other than it makes me feel good and it makes me get out of my head and is very meditative. So for that, and then also meditation. I'm a huge avid meditator. I do it as, morning and night and as many times as I can. I know during our work on Purpose with Purpose, I'm like, okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to use this hour to meditate.
Yes.
So I need some self-care. So that's my self-care. So, and then eating right. And when we lived in my in-laws, they had a lot of processed foods. They had a lot of sugars. They had a lot of, toxic food, and we partaked. And, I will clearly admit it. I put on a few LBs, I mean, hey, I'm like, there's cookies, a little sugar here, a
Quarantine
little chips
15.
here, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite quarantine 15, but it was like, because I worked out every day, but still, it was like I was still, I did put on some, I could tell I
And you
put
still
on
feel
some
that.
weight, and I still felt that. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get back into some sort of like, we need to do a detox and like get rid of all the sugars and the processed stuff. And so that's another way to keep me, in the right clear head and mindset, is to not, to eat healthier and put that healthier foods in my bodies. And I tell everybody, anything that goes in here, and here has a huge impact. So anything that goes in your ears, anything that goes in your eyes, anything that goes in your nose, anything that goes in your mouth has a huge impact on how your body responds and reacts.
Yes.
And if you're not taking care of it and you're not listening to the right things, or you're viewing a lot of toxicity with the news on or whatever, or you're smells and tastes, if you're putting things in your body that don't fuel it the right way and they're not the proper way, then you're gonna have a lot of pitfalls and downfalls and COVID-15s and I mean everything
Struggles.
else.
There'll be struggles.
They're going to be
People, right?
struggles. Yeah, you're going to have lots of struggles.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
use the same principles every day that I use in my coaching. I mean, talking to myself, my love worthy mindset, dumping the baggage that's weighing me down, the way I speak to myself, the way I look at myself in the mirror, the healthy, delicious foods I put in my body, the way I take care of myself emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. I use all those principles on a daily basis. So that's what has been keeping me sane through 2020.
Yeah, I love that. So since you mentioned your coaching, go ahead and tell the audience, like, so you guys are doing the nomadic or the
Locationally independent.
locationally independent lifestyle, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what do you guys do for work, right? Like, how are you able to just pick up and relocate every, couple months or whatever your plan, ends up being? But the idea of being locational, being able to have that freedom, what do you do for work?
So we both are online. Both of our businesses are online. I do, one-on-one coaching and group coaching online, just like this, just like Zooms. And I'm an emotional eating specialist. So I help women with emotional eating. I help them in that battle with emotional eating. I help them lose weight. I help them love what they see in the mirror, get over that mindset, get over that hump of like that binge eating. And that's what a lot of people been doing. I mean, since COVID, it's like we're grieving. We're in a grieving process. We're still in a grieving process. It's going to go up again because there's COVID cases are going to start again. It's going to be wintertime and people are going to be hibernating. And what are they going to be doing? Returning to the food, returning to all those binge items.
And now at elections and everything too.
Yes. Yeah. And at elections and all that stuff. So it's like we went, things completely changed for everybody, and people didn't know how to deal with that, and they didn't know didn't understand how to combat these. But these were all underlying issues that we already had. They just came to the surface because of something traumatic, this pandemic that happened. And so then people are like, oh my gosh, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm depressed, I'm stressed, I'm, this, I'm that, I'm bored. I'm going to start eating, and I'm just going to eat, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to watch TV, and then I'm going to drink. And then it's an emotional response. So everybody has some form of emotional eating. Everybody does, because we all
Yeah.
turn to food for some satisfaction of some emotion that we're having, whether it's happy. We go to a party, we're like, oh, we could eat cupcakes and cake, and like, wow, we're so excited, but then we eat it and then we feel like crap, and then
Or
we are put
champagne,
on
right? Like
selves. Yes.
we equate celebration with certain types of foods and drinks, and
Yes.
that's so
Yes.
true.
But then it makes us feel bad. And then that cycle, then we get stressed, we have anxiety, and then it raises our cortisol levels. And then what happens? That creates this, midsection fat. And so
Mhm.
it's like this never ending cycle, and even if you're sad or depressed or bored or anxious, you're turning to that food. You're having that negative, response, and you're filling it you're trying to push your emotions down so you don't feel them. And so every single person has some form of emotional eating. It's
Yeah.
and more people are struggling with it because of what's going on, the pandemic right now.
Yeah, that made me
So
think about how you do. I know you do mirror work as a
mhm,
tool for you, and that when we're talking about the pandemic, how it was forced upon us to like really realize and really build an awareness, right, about the things that we turn to when we have our struggles, whatever they may be. It's really like the pandemic has forced us all to look in the mirror is
yes.
like what I thought. Like we are all being forced to fully like look in the mirror and be aware. So I would love for you to share it's something for mirror work. Like what would you challenge the audience to do, or something about your mirror work? Because I think that's really powerful, the way that I've heard Liza do her presentation, and she talked about mirror work, and I'm a strong advocate for it. So if you would, I would love to have you share something about that.
Yeah, for sure. So the three most powerful words, actually the two most powerful words, are I am, because anything you put on the other side of that has such a huge negative or positive effect on us. If you're going your whole entire life and you're saying you're ugly, fat, stupid, and disgusting, what happens is our conscious mind says that, our subconscious believes it to be true. Yes. Who you say, well, yes, or matters, it really does. So when you say these things, your subconscious believes it to be true every single time, believes it to be true. So if you go out into the world and say you put on this black dress, and you go out in the world and your friend gives you a compliment, and you're not going to be able to accept that compliment, because your subconscious is going to remind you every time, hey, remember, no, 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 we're ugly, fat, stupid, and disgusting. You told us that. So we're never going to be able to accept that compliment from somebody. So what we do is we make up excuses. It's like, oh, it's too small. It's faded. I'm bigger now. I feel so uncomfortable with it. I don't know why I even wore it. We just don't say thank you and just accept that compliment. We can't, because of our subconscious and those words that we say to ourselves on a daily basis. So saying I ams are even more powerful. Going one step further, we can say I love you to every single person, our grandmother, our kids, our spouse, our partner, our best friend, our dot sisters. We can say I love you to every single person, but we can't say I love you to ourselves. Why do we have such a hard time saying I love you to ourselves? Because we are told at a very young age that loving yourself and caring for yourself is selfish. And you have to put your needs second or third or fourth or fifth or on the back burner for your entire life. No, saying I love you and loving yourself is not selfish, it's self preservation. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first in life. You have to take care of yourself first in life. You have to love yourself first before you can truly love another person or take care of anybody else around you. It's fact. That's how it goes. It's like if you love yourself first, everything else will fall into place. So, going to the mirror, I challenge everybody. I love this challenge. I challenge everybody to go to the mirror and say, I love you to themselves every single morning when they wake up, when they go to the mirror. I love you. At first, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel kind of awkward, probably, if you've never done it before, or maybe you've done it and you haven't just done it in a long time. And you're like, hey, maybe I should start doing that again, because it's going to have an impact on you. Do it for two
Mhm.
weeks. and just notice how things change for you. Notice how you become a little lighter, a little bit brighter. You get shit done. You really do. I mean, when you start loving yourself, your productivity skyrockets. You're more successful. The people around you, you're more happier. So the people around you are more happier. You have more confidence. There's so many benefits to saying I love you. The
Mm.
list goes on and on and on. So just I love you, is very powerful, just to
I
say
love
I
that
love you
because
to
it's a
yourself.
because it's an energy. Like I believe so much in like the energy of that showing up and letting ourselves know, like, no matter what today holds, no matter what happened yesterday, like I love you is like that grace and permission to just be. As you
Yeah.
were talking about like running and stuff, like I'm thinking about all of the things, how it all goes together, and how I love the challenge because it is so true. It heightens the energy that you bring to your day, especially to start the day like that, and adding in the affirmations piece in there to be really intentional, like add fuel to the fire of your day and be like, rocking it. Like I love that so much. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Liza, where is the best place for the viewers to connect with you?
So I'm on all the social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram,
What's your favorite
Alignable.
platform?
I'm probably mostly on Facebook. Facebook and Instagram have kind of been the two ones that I've been on a lot. And my business page is Love Your Body Coaching. And you can also see I put a lot of my own business stuff on my own personal page. So Liza Lomax, you can find me there. My website is lizalomax.com. So if you can remember Liza Lomax, then you can find me.
There you go. And it's in the corner of this video. So they'll remember.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Liza, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
back on with me
Yes.
and sharing more of an update about like what you guys are up to, what's happening, and how, you're taking the actions necessary to literally make your dreams a reality, which
Yep.
is such a beautiful thing. And I'm so honored to like have you in my life as a friend, as an MC, as a all of the things in my life. Like I just love being around you, and I'm even more excited now because you can send all the pictures in your tank top you want to rub it in, give me the sunshine, bring it in. So, and I think you said that you have a lot of room in your house, so I'm always open for
Right,
invitations to come
right,
visit.
for sure, yes. Yeah, and I mean, and just to leave a like just a side a note, going forward, just like don't be afraid to take that leap. Don't be afraid to you might have the security and the stability, but are you happy?
Mm.
Are you truly happy? Are you really doing what you want in life? Do just take that leap? It's not scary. You know, fear is your best friend. It really is. It's only steering you in the way that you're supposed to be going. It's that roadmap that sends you to the next roadmap, and then the next one, and then the next one. So it's like once you can get out of your comfort zone, get out of that little box that you put yourself in, and just do it. Because I've been fearful. I was fearful my entire life. With numerous things in my life, and I've overcome so many things and so many obstacles. And now it's like I'm just gonna keep taking the leap and taking the leap and taking the leap.
Yeah, I made a post today that literally said better an oops than a what if, and I like
Right.
living with the regrets of like, oh, I didn't take the chance, and oh, we saw this coming and we're not going to move, and pandemic, and we can make up all the excuses in the world
Excuses.
to not go for what we truly want and what will make us happy as individual people, as couples, as all of the things. But at the end of the day, it's like, what is the energy that you feel when you put your head on a pillow, right? Like, are you happy? Do you feel like fulfilled in what your day held for you?
Yeah.
If not, like start asking the questions of where that feeling is at. And it always starts with you. So it
Yep.
always starts with you. So
Always.
everything that Liza was just talking about with loving yourself and feeling that, like, perfect place to start with you. So
Yes.
there was another quote on here that I pulled up on my phone from um Ella Fitzgerald, that is, it isn't,
Mm.
no, it isn't where you where you came from, it's where you're going that counts. So like
Yes.
all of the things that we go through, right? Like all of my guests on here, guys, realize that I interview leaders about a significant time in their life when fear held them back from living their life fully, and how those life experiences have helped shape the leader that they are today. Like Liza is a leader in someone taking the action, going after what they want. And now she's living this lifestyle that, like, how many of you want to be able to be remote and locationally independent? Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to catch on. It's going to catch on. I love it. So, like, how many of us want that?
Right.
I want that. That has been my dream with my family. Like, I love it so much. So again, Liza, thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable to share, you know, your journey along the way. And she's like in it right now. She's been there for a couple of weeks, guys. Like, don't be afraid. Like she said, like step up, go through it, and
Get out of
love
your way.
yourself, live
Yeah.
fearlessly, and you know, go for it. It's not too late. It is, today is the perfect time. So take the action.
Yep.
I love it. Thank you so much, Liza.
Thank you.